Hey, this week on This is Gravel, we have Iceland, we have Lincoln, and we have
Swords.
swords, social media. Hey, and welcome to This is Gravel. I am Bobby Thompson, and on the show today is
Neil Taylor.
Neil. How you doing? What's been going on, buddy?
I've been pretty good. Getting out, riding bikes. We got the high schoolers back out. That it's, August. School's starting back up here for them this week. And so we decided, now's a good time to get back out on the bike. And even though I hadn't been riding with them all summer, they've been riding. And you can tell it.
They leave you in the dust?
No, of course not.
Oh,
no.
okay. Because you got gears now. So.
I have gears now. Let me tell you, I tried to sprint one of them the other night, and it was all good until I realized I just ate 4 pieces of Gambino's pizza right before going out for that ride.
Excuses.
And so the food started coming back up, and I made a choice whether to throw up on my bike or to beat the kid in the sprint and do that. And I just decided, I don't want to throw up on my bike.
Yeah. So you let him feel good.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I let him feel good. So, Bobby, what have you been up to, man?
I haven't been riding a whole lot. I'll say I have not been riding a whole lot.
At least not in this continent.
Not in this country, on this continent. No, it's been one of those, I think, where a lot of us get into the groove of the summer where it's been, the riding peak looks like this, where I don't do much and then I go out and do 80 mile. And then I don't do much and I go out and do a 70 mile. And then, and those hurt a lot more than they should because I'm not being able to ride as much in between. My kids have been home during the summer. I'm a real estate agent, so I work from home, and we've been having a fun summer. They're still at a young age, and I decided to take a summer and do what I can. And so we've had a lot of pool days, nice. A lot of sleeping until 10 or 11, and yes, work too, Carrie. But so yeah, but now that school's picking back up, so this week, so that'll change again, and I'll probably be getting back on the bike more. But I did make it over to the Rift, which is a gravel, the first year for the gravel biker race from Lauf Cycles in Iceland, and it was a blast. So we have a little video lead in if you want to see it.
Yeah, let's check it out.
All right. So that video doesn't do it justice.
Man, I'm telling you, all the pictures that I saw between you and everyone else, little jealous. It looked awesome.
I could talk forever about it, and the unfortunate thing is people individually will ask me how the race is, and I tend to go into, it's so great, and it's so exciting in my head, but all they really wanted to hear was, yeah, it was a good ride. And so I tend to bore them very quickly, but it was the ride itself and the route itself was absolutely gorgeous, and it almost the word that I keep hearing people toss around and is probably most accurate is, to us being from Kansas and maybe even the United States, it was otherworldly, because once you get up into the interior, it's shaped very much by the volcanoes, by the volcanic geography that they have there. So it's not like anything we have here.
Yeah.
You know, their dirt is not like the dirt we have here. Their gravel is not the gravel that we have. Everything is completely different. The colors are very dynamic. They really jump out at you because they're against a black background.
Yeah.
So any color there really jumps at you. So.
And I'm telling you, every picture I saw, it didn't matter who it was. It didn't even matter if they were trying, I think, to take a nice picture. It just looked gorgeous. It looked tough, though, too. I mean, you know, there's some rocks out there, and there's some pretty rough-looking roads, if you want to call them that.
Yeah.
I mean, but gosh, as me and my wife, we both were looking at everybody's social media all weekend long. We're like, so, trip next summer?
Yeah, I highly encourage anybody and everybody to make a trip over. I would say that this is the first gravel ride race that I've been on where I can honestly say a mountain bike as well as a drop bar bike would be just as good there. I mean, the first 60 miles of the ride are incredibly steep, challenging. As sometimes the road goes away because it's just a valley that's just been washed out, grown over, whatever. You're going through, you know, I think we crossed rivers like maybe 10 times, you know, and this is ankle deep stuff that's flowing fast. And so it was a blast to go through. Now, the back half, as you're coming back down, drop bar all the way. You're going to tuck and roll and go. Yeah. Even that gets dangerous, though, because the rocks there are super, you know, they're volcanic rocks that have cooled off fast. So they're sharp and they're rough and they're edgy. And, of course, I flatted twice coming down the hills. And I haven't flatted forever on a gravel event. Oh. And here I go, on a gravel event, I haven't flatted forever. This summer has been the summer of flatting for me.
On Tuesday night rides, on trips
right.
to Council Road.
That's more me being lazy and keeping tubes on my tire instead of getting reset back up. Lessons learned. But it was a blast. And as far as the event itself, for a first year event, I think they did a wonderful job with it. I think that as more people come and get into it and get used to all the extracurricular activities they have going on, those are only going to get better. I think a lot of people were pretty nervous with it being a first time event, and a lot of us are, you know, we're flying internationally and we show up and maybe instead of, they had a Vikings game competition the night before, which played into the race results, which played into winning this really cool wool jersey thing, right? Well, I think they probably had 20 people at the Viking games because a lot of us were so nervous, out of sorts, maybe not nervous, uncomfortable the first night. Yeah. We were trying to get all this in, and so we didn't participate. If I went back, I'd say, you know, everybody jump into these Viking games. They're really cool. You get a sword, you get to stab people. No. You're lifting stones. But very cool event.
So speaking of sword and really cool events coming up here this weekend, yeah, you like that?
That was one heck of a segue.
I know. Where are you going to be heading this weekend, Bobby?
Well, here we go again. So yeah, it's that time of the year, right?
It's
fall. September's kicking off, and all these events are. So it's Gravel Worlds. Yes. And I wish you were coming back.
Man,
you've been there before. Last year you suffered long term on the single speeds. Was last year?
I'm gonna say last 2 years I've done single speed up there, and gosh, I'm so bummed this year that I don't get to make it.
We love going
to conflicts,
up to Lincoln and seeing Craig and Corey up there and all the pirate cycling crew. The volunteers up there do a fantastic job. It is one of my favorite races to go to. I know we talked about Bleeding Kansas being my regionally favorite, blah blah blah, but there's so many good events that I love how many oases they have. Oases that they have throughout the course. You know, every 20 to 25 miles.
Yeah.
If you want to stop, there is something to stop for. It may just be water, but it's something to target in your mind mentally because agree with me. Traditionally, Gravel Worlds is extremely white gravel. It's kind of sandy, so you get a lot of resistance. So you are pedaling the entire day, and it is hot because the sun is beaming off that white gravel right back into your face.
Yeah, last year, you know, it was not too bad in the morning. Everything was good, rolled out. First 100 miles, I was done in about 7 hours, which for me is pretty good, especially being on single speed last year. And so I felt really good about that. That next 50, it was literally get me from point to point, station to station, folks setting up on the side of the road, handing out whatever, because it got hot and it got miserable, and it was like, let me just get to the next person that has some sort of substance. And I mean, I quit carrying. I dumped all my bottles, and it was literally just cold fluids from station to station because I was. Can
you imagine the mentality that you would have if it was set up where you only had 2 checkpoints, because it's 150 miles, so each checkpoint was 50 miles, and you're gearing up? It would be extremely difficult. I mean, it's extremely difficult to stay hydrated on this ride. It is. It's harsh up there. Even in the high 80s, it's going to be beating down on you. Last year, I actually felt it was the best ride I'd ever had. I think I finished in like 9 hours, 40 minutes or whatever. But even at that pace, 100 miles was a convenience store.
Yeah.
I basically walked across the highway to get there. I was so tired and hot, and I bought a 10-pound, is it not 10-pound, but 5-pound bag of ice, whatever. And I said that I used half of it. I filled all my pockets up, and I filled my backpack just with ice. So it would just slowly melt for the next, and that helped me get going again. And I was good until mile 130. But at mile 130, done. I didn't want any more of it, and that last 20 miles was the longest 20 miles I had to get back to Lincoln.
And you mentioned that gas station at mile 100. By the time I got there, they were out of ice. They were out of ice cream. All I was wanting was something cold when I rolled in there, and there was nothing. I mean, the only ice you could get was out of the fountain, and even that was running pretty low. I mean, you'd sit there and kind of wait for those 3 or 4 cubes to kind of make their way down to the cup. I mean, it was...
Yeah.
They were tapped.
We're talking about how hard it is, but that's what we go to these rides for, right?
Yeah. I mean, don't want it to be easy.
Right. Very few of us are going to race for a podium. Most of us are going for the challenge of actually completing the ride. So, yeah, no, you're not going for a podium. Is that what you're trying to insinuate? Oh, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, you never know.
So, yeah, most of us are going for the camaraderie of suffering together with other gravel family. Absolutely. And this is definitely can become a sufferfest if you don't stay on top of stuff and keep your body cool for the ride. So, but at the end of the day, you roll in to the brewery there, Schillinghouse Brewery, I believe is the name of it. And actually, the expo is at the brewery this year, which is new. So I'm excited to see how that's going to be. And it's most of the day Friday. So excited to get there as early as we can possibly be there on Friday and experience more time with the fellow gravel riders that are there, because that's really what it's about.
Awesome. I can't wait to be watching everybody's stuff on social media again. I'm going to miss being up there for it. Speaking of social media, Speaking of social media, let's see what you guys have been up to.
Hey, thanks Bobby and Neil for leading us into social media this week. Social media is absolutely my favorite time of the show. First up, we got this photo from our friend Chris Sutton, out riding near Buena Vista, Colorado on the historic Midland Trail. Matt Curry sent in this photo of riding the 24 Hours of Cummings 400K solo. Great job there, Matt. Brandon sent in this photo doing a 99-mile overnighter in the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas. Awesome job, Brandon. Jeremy said he was out in Iceland at the Rift the weekend before last, but he rode in the Maade Hay Trail last Saturday. That's a lot of miles on 2 different continents. Peter was out at the Colorado Trail Race. Not exactly a gravel event, but he did ride a lot. Awesome job. Christopher was out riding Grand Rapids to Big Rapids, Michigan, and back on the White Pine Trail. Steven sent in this photo on the Banker Pass, North Cascades, Washington. Awesome looking area. Jeff was out at Ted King's event, the Rooted Vermont, the first edition of that one up that way. Looks awesome. And Susan in this photo riding the Fort Collins Fondo. Thank you to everybody that submitted photos using the hashtag #ThisIsGravel on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Back to you guys.
Awesome, guys. We love seeing that stuff. Make sure, again, tag everything This Is Gravel. Keep following myself, Minister of Gravel, on social media, along with the Casual Cyclist. Again, we love seeing what you're all up to.
See ya.